All right, so welcome back to another talk. Some of our themes for today, we have some news, some music news. We have
Mm.
some artists that um, we would like to share and talk about. And one thing, as far as playing goes, I thought we'd have an overall theme of how to practice.
Yeah,
So a lot of times we talk about what to practice.
yeah.
Um,
That's kind of the easy part.
that is, yeah, that is the easy part, and that's one thing that I find from teaching is you deliver what to practice, and then what you receive back the next week
Hmm.
is sometimes not what you expected. And,
Right.
so, so what are some of the ways that you have practiced effectively in the past, or talked to students about, or shared with colleagues, or
Well, it's a lot. So much of practice is sort of time management.
mm-hmm.
Um, so I know if I've got something coming up the next day or that evening or whatever, where it's like a recording session, or sometimes it's a last minute gig, and I'll be with a singer and they have all their own charts, and you just panic. So the trick is to sit down, focus. As you and I have talked about before, um, the single most effective thing you can do is when you make a mistake, stop right there, fix it, keep moving, then go back and do it again. If you try to fix it after you get to the end, generally you won't fix it. It's,
Right,
it's a rare person
right.
that can do that.
And one issue I think with that too is that you might not even remember it. It may
Yeah.
it may have been impactful at the moment, and
Mm-hmm.
you realized it, but then there were all these other issues down the road, and
It just becomes blurred, and
right.
yeah.
And
So
that's why, sometimes when I'll have a student play something, I'll really ask them to play really a short amount.
mhm,
Just, can you play these measures
right.
here? Um, you know, but oftentimes if someone does tend to want to play a whole piece, I'll make notes
Hmm.
as they play along. Like, so, okay, I got to go back to
Right.
this part.
Yeah. And it's, playing through the whole thing is really useful to get phrasing, as we talked about in another video, and structure, and an understanding of how the song works
Right.
and where you need to work inside it. Um, Other than that, yeah, break it up, work it out, catch your mistakes quickly, because then you'll fix them and they're done.
Right.
And you can move on and worry about the other thing, like, do I have matching socks for my suit tonight?
Right.
You know,
Yeah. Yeah, and then practice, like you said, like how much or how long can the attention span, last on one given item or one practice session.
yeah. I mean, there are, like, when I was playing a lot of classical music, you
Mm.
get classical players who would sit there and practice for 8 hours a day.
Right.
Um, I never understood that because it's exhausting mentally and physically,
Yeah.
and I'm not convinced there is any useful benefit to that.
Yeah, my opinion on that is that a serious player, let's say in the developmental stages, I would say practicing 3 to 5 hours would probably be pretty reasonable.
Yeah, yeah. More than that, I think becomes starts to become self defeating.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And there were periods of time when I practiced, I did the 8 hour thing,
Mhm.
and I found that at a certain point you're just kind of tapped out
Yeah.
mentally, and then you're probably getting on the upper edge of some physical injury risks as
Very
well.
much,
Yeah.
very much, and it is. Yeah, and you're just wiped out, and it's hard to function and everything else you have to do the rest of the day.
Right.
Just as a human being, um,
Right.
much less a musician.
Right.
Um, that's why I like I tell students, at least earlier on in their progress, 20 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 20 minutes 3 times a day.
Right.
Let's break
Yeah.
it up and work on
Yeah.
things in those 20 minutes. Because, yeah, that's a good attention span.
Right. Focused practice is gonna give you the most results.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would say even, as a session, I would not recommend doing any more than 45 minutes
Right.
in one sitting. That would be my recommendation. And then trying to practice somewhere between 3 and 5 hours would be really beneficial in the long run, I think.
Right.
Just to have a little bit of that history of doing that.
Yeah, it's kind of an understanding and sort of word breaking in your brain to
Right.
be able to concentrate on the music that long. Because again, if you're doing like symphonic things and all, it's not unusual to have an 8 hour practice, 8 hour rehearsal with an orchestra.
Right.
So you better be focused through the whole thing.
Yeah.
You don't blink.
That's right.
So yeah, it is a stamina thing mentally and physically to
Yeah.
do it. But if you feel, especially like you said, anything physical,
Yeah.
where it's like, oh, I'm starting to get a little pain in my wrist or my neck's starting to hurt a little bit, stop
Right.
right there.
Yeah.
Get up, walk away, do something else, take a hot shower, whatever you got to do.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, you can have very, lifelong damage.
Right. So let's say we were, let's say we were thinking about a practice session. One thing I recommend to do is to work on, as far as improvisation, maybe work on a portion of a tune, like 8 measures. So let's say we were playing a little bit
Mhm.
on the first 8 bars of Tuesday.
Mhm.
I'm gonna pick something specific that I'm gonna try to achieve, and then we're just gonna loop that.
Right.
So, what I'm gonna try to do here is work on some phrasing. I'm
Mhm.
gonna try to do long phrases, and I'm gonna try to do like you were saying, the arc
Mhm.
and the other video that we did. Create a little dynamic arc or arch,
Mhm.
from soft to loud to soft again.
Yeah.
And that's just that's one thing I like to talk to you about is do something specific.
Mhm. Yeah. Yeah. Have a focused point in your mind. Say, I need to settle this,
Yeah.
and then move on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, so we'll just loop the first 8 measures.
Mhm.
All right. So there, just working on that dynamic range.
Mhm.
I caught myself at one point playing a more of a 2 measure phrase, and then I thought, okay, I gotta get back to my original goal.
Mhm.
Original goal was to have this longer phrase, this longer scheme. So that's something that you can kind of do, aside from changes. Um,
Yeah. Playing with the phrase structure and the melodic structure, and looking at this is why, as an instrumentalist, like especially a bass player or a guitarist who's just comping, maybe on a gig, where you're not covering the melody, you might be working with a singer or piano player or something.
yeah.
They've got the melody, but we have to understand it,
Mhm.
and we need to have that. I keep melodies going in my head
Mhm.
the whole time because
Yeah.
that's far more important,
Right.
because there's harmonic things and rhythmic things
Yep.
that are the difference between hacking around in your garage, which is fun,
Mm-hmm.
or playing a gig in front of 20,000 people.
Right. Yeah.
It's how tight is that alignment between you, whoever's doing the melody, and the melody.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. So, we just had news, I think yesterday, of Tony Bennett passing.
Yeah. Yeah. That's 96 years old.
96.
That's an incredibly long career.
Yeah, long, excellent career. Worked with a lot of collaborations.
Yeah.
In the popular space,
Yeah,
as
I mean,
well as in the jazz
he worked with
world.
Lady Gaga,
Yeah.
and they're fantastic. Those
Mhm.
recordings are absolutely amazing. He loved Amy Winehouse,
Right.
but then he could sing with the Basie band
Hmm.
and kill it.
Yeah. So he really kind of straddles these different eras of, really sort of the ending, or he sort of took the torch maybe from some of those earlier crooners, singers, would you say? Or
Yeah, yeah, and
um,
yeah. It's like Sinatra had his thing, which was amazing.
yeah.
But Sinatra sounded best with a big band.
Hmm.
He knew it. Everybody else knew it, so that's why he did. Tony Bennett could do a big band thing, or he had his trio that was just gorgeous. I mean, just the most beautiful back trio.
Yeah.
Very sensitive to how he worked.
Right. So he could do small groups and large groups. He
Yeah.
did an album with Bill Evans, piano.
Yeah, it's again, it's incredibly sensitive interpretations of songs.
Right.
He really understood how the song worked,
Right.
and had a clear idea of where he was going with it.
He had a certain charisma about him too.
Mhm.
I think he had there was a very likable
Yeah,
aspect to who he presented himself as. I mean, I've never met him, but
yeah. I was never lucky enough, but yeah, he came across very pleasant, very happy,
right.
um, totally at ease on stage,
Hmm.
and that when you see that, it's funny. The audience will relax when they see somebody who's relaxed on stage.
Right.
Because instead of being, oh, what's going to happen next? You can just go, oh, okay, this is awesome.
Yeah. 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 Exactly. Nice.
So, yeah, I mean, long career, and it's, 96. That's
That's
a pretty good run.
That's a full life.
Yeah,
I'd
yeah.
say.
Yeah, I was listening to the radio this morning. I think I need to double check this, but it's like he had 20 Grammys.
Wow.
And
incredible.
I think there was an Emmy in there, and there was all this other stuff. He was the first person to win the Gershwin Prize for Popular Song.
Okay.
One of the first Kennedy Center honorees.
Yeah.
Yeah, he did all right.
All right. So let's say let's continue with kind of the practice, how to practice kind of concept. Okay, so take something specific, take something small and manageable
Right.
to work with, address issues.
Yeah.
Any issue in the playing.
Mhm.
So there's a lot of different skills, aren't there? So we've got have technique, got to get technique going, and so even maintaining to some extent, right?
Absolutely. It is so easy to get lazy.
Right.
I have this thing that I do at least twice a year is I get in front of a mirror and
Okay.
play
Okay. Yeah.
and realize just how terrifically lousy I am. It's just because you start, it's like thumb starts creeping over, or
Yeah.
position is wrong, or
Right.
posture stinks, or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
And when you see it in the mirror, or video yourself with your phone,
Right.
fix it.
Yep. Yeah. Recording oneself is huge, and that's one thing that I did quite a bit for a period of time, even before I started the whole this YouTube project, was just recording, not so much video, but I think the video is very helpful too.
Yeah.
But also just recording audio and listening, listening to things you want to fix. So I'd record maybe a phrase,
Right.
and I listen back, and then I'd do it again. I'll listen back.
Yeah.
Because somehow, music, it's very demanding. You're juggling a lot.
Hmm.
And if you can not play an instrument and listen to yourself back, I think there's something very powerful about
Oh,
that.
absolutely. Yeah. Separating yourself from the process.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is, like we said in another video, it's like proofreading a book.
Hmm.
You sort of divorce yourself of the play of playing it and just go, I spelled that right. Did I punctuate that right? It's the same. Yeah, but that's how your brain has to work.
Yeah.
And then you realize you have a lot of work to do.
Right. Yeah.
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 That,
That's right. So, let's see about maybe playing the next
mhm. The
next 8 bars.
Mhm. Which is where things start getting interesting because we go from 2-bar changes
Mm-hmm.
to 1-bar changes.
1 bar changes. Yeah.
Again, a very Jobim thing to do, where he kind of takes a set of the feel and then kind of compresses it and then lets it expand back out.
Right.
And it's just by the number of chords
Yeah.
he puts in.
Yeah.
Melody is effectively moving at the same speed.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's all this coolness that's going on underneath it.
Exactly. Yeah. So, let's just loop that. We'll just play it 2 times.
Okay.
Let's just play it 2 times, and then we'll land on the B flat.
Mm-hmm.
And then, what I'm gonna just sort of emulate this idea of having something to practice. And so, what I'm gonna do is work on outlining changes.
Okay.
So I'm just going to do that.
Yeah.
That's my main goal.
Which is a great place to start practicing a new tune.
Right.
Just outline the changes, get it in your head,
Right.
understand how it's going from one place to the
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So when we take that approach, just thinking about it, it's just a lot of da, 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 da.
Mhm.
So then I would take something like that. I would evaluate it. So and that's another thing. You try to do something in a practice session and evaluate what it could even just be a taste thing. Like, okay, what did you like? What didn't you like? Right. And so now I'm going to try to stretch it out, find some commonalities between those changes,
Mhm.
and not be as eighth
Right.
note.
Right.
On it, so. So there, I'm just trying to think a little bit more stepwise, a little more melodically. I'm trying to
Yeah.
think, okay, what's in common to this
Mhm.
chord and this other chord? Um, if I just stay on this note, can that happen?
Yeah.
Can that happen? I know it can happen, but
Right.
is it going to sound good?
Yeah, it is. Yeah.
Are there enough commonalities there where I can just say, okay, this note, or maybe just move over here a little bit,
Mhm.
and then I may listen back and say what worked and what didn't work. How deeply do I understand the relationships and
Right.
between chords and move it
Yeah, I mean, a tune like
forward.
this, you look at bar 7, 8, no, sorry, can't even count, 9 and 10, where we're going from C minor 7 to the A half diminished 7 to the D7 flat 9. you've got a C
Mm-hmm.
under
Yeah.
the whole thing.
Yep.
Um, and then we got G minor 7. So technically you could play B flat and then we're ending on an A. So you could play the root. As a bass player, you play the root or the C sharp, but we got a sharp 9 in there.
Mm-hmm.
So we gave us the C back.
Right.
So effectively, there's 2 notes
Mm-hmm.
in that 4 bars.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yeah, it's a way of just, flip it around.
Right. Yeah, exactly. And that's what I find so fascinating about practice and just music is just gaining insights like all the insights that you just mentioned is just that exploring. You had mentioned something as we were talking about putting together this video where we just talk about making noise.
Yeah.
Right.
I encourage that with students.
Right.
You should take the last 5 minutes of every practice session. If you're going to do 20-minute chunks,
Mm-hmm.
it's nice, it's relaxed, you're good. Take that last 5 minutes, make noise.
Right.
Find out what your instrument can do,
Right.
and find out what you can do on your instrument. You learn this by exploring it, and with a musical instrument, a lot of that is noise
Mm-hmm.
until you can sort of filter it out and go, okay, I like, that's a good note. If I'm okay, that's pretty.
Right.
Is that useful? Yeah,
Right.
this is where you need to.
Yeah.
I love that,
Mm-hmm.
but it's got to be under the right thing.
Right.
So it's learning consonance and dissonance, and
Right. Trying things.
then
Yeah.
just trying. Just
Yeah.
trying. You're not going to hurt anybody. You're not going to break music.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah, and I guess moving into somewhat of a different topic,
Mhm.
playing inside versus playing outside. Like, I was pretty heavily into Coltrane and Dave Liebman.
Mhm.
Really interested in the whole aspect of pushing boundaries and playing things that are not really playing the changes.
Right.
So, but then you want to find a place for those
Mhm.
moments. I think so. But I always found that a little bit interesting. But that kind of ties into the idea of just playing something.
Play
Playing
anything,
sounds. Yeah.
any combination of notes, so you can start to hear this whole relationship. And interestingly, at least what I found is, I'm also exploring how my hands are moving on the instrument.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not just these note relationships. It's, if I put my hand like that,
Yeah.
I get this,
Mm-hmm.
and it's repeatable.
Yeah.
But, that's cool.
Yeah.
So it's a mental and physical combined thing. But no,
Right.
I love the idea of just noise, just raise hell.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Great. So let's see. Let's play let's kind of keep going down
Mhm.
8 measures at a time and just pick kind of a topic
Mhm.
to play. So I'm gonna try to think of a rhythmic cell or a rhythmic
Okay.
figure, and I'm gonna make an effort to repeat that.
Mhm.
And I'm gonna keep it real simple,
Okay.
and I'm gonna come up with it on the fly, and then I'm just gonna kind of repeat it
Mhm.
a little bit. And let's do it just 2 times through
Okay.
again. Just want to give folks the idea of how you might do some things, and you can do this on iReal Pro or Band in a
Right.
Box. Just loop certain sections,
Yeah.
pick a certain concept, record yourself doing it,
And
and
just-
evaluate.
Yeah. Evaluate and just do it over and over. Yeah. Find those things that, make you happy
Yeah,
when you're playing it.
you have to be happy.
Yeah.
You have to enjoy
Yeah. If this
what
is
you're doing.
torture, get up, walk away, walk the dog,
Yep.
come back.
Yep.
If you become angry about it, I know people who can become very productive when they get angry
Mm-hmm.
when they're playing music. There are a very small number of them, though.
Right. Yeah. All right. So yeah, let's do the
First aid of the B
first
section.
aid of the B section. Okay, so part of the process there, I I had a rhythm in mind,
Mhm.
and I played it, and I played it very faithfully the
Right.
first time through, and then I
Mhm.
thought, well, I'm kind of getting it,
Yeah.
so I'm feeling like I'm making the changes as I'm playing that rhythm. So then I just kind of freed it up a little bit. I said, well, I'm going to continue that rhythm, but every other time I do it, I'm just going to like tag something
Hmm.
to it, you know.
Yeah.
And so then I thought, well, that went pretty well the first time, so I'm going to do it again the second time. So you can even do to some extent things on the spot, like, okay, this is maybe within my level.
Right.
Maybe I can branch out and try to do this thing. But
Mhm.
it was, I think you always want to assess, what's going on. Is it in the wheelhouse,
Right.
and can you do it, So,
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, so much of this is, well, I completely agree with that. In practice, once you kind of have it in your head and in your hands,
mhm.
you want to push a little bit,
Yeah,
and start adding, okay, that works well, that rhythm works well, those chords work well. Now what?
right.
Can I add a note? Can I add a rest? Add another beat? Can I tweak it just a little bit? And expanding your internal knowledge
Hmm.
of this without making yourself insane.
Right.
It's so easy to really push and go, oh, I got to get this, I got to get this, I got to get this. You will never get it.
Yeah,
It
yeah.
just won't happen. You'll lose your mind.
Right, right. And we've all been through you really trial and error. I mean, and to some extent, we all teach ourselves.
Yeah.
We get guidance from teachers.
Yeah.
We get guidance from other musicians.
Mhm.
But really, we all have to individually sit down and teach ourselves, and that's part of the process, I think, too, is just having fun with practice.
Yeah.
I mean, it's one of those things like you could say to someone, "Oh, I like to practice," and they may not believe you, and maybe you are being disingenuous.
Yeah.
But there is something a little bit tortured about it.
Yeah. There's the sort of tortured artist
Yeah,
mentality. And
yeah,
we all tend to do that. It's like, I just practiced for 7.5 hours.
yeah.
Unless you made some, real headway, nobody cares.
Right. Right. You could put it on your wall. I
Yeah.
did this, but yeah, nobody's gonna see it.
Yeah, you're better off spending shorter focus times,
Mhm.
working on mechanics, working on the theory, working on tunes, and working on ideas.
Right.
And all these things are useful in the real world.
Yeah. And then, how about folks that might be watching right now and asking themselves, like, why don't I get results? Or like, when to expect results?
The short, snotty answer is when they happen.
Yeah.
The
I would agree with that.
the longer answer is when they happen.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
we all hit plateaus.
Mhm.
Earlier this year, I was working on stuff, and I could not get over it.
Mhm.
It just was not going to happen.
Yeah.
So it was a matter of backing up, walking away, looking at something else
Mhm.
that let me come back.
Right.
It gave me just a slight have you found that every time you practice something for a while, like you might be working on something for a week,
Yeah.
and then you go away and you do something else and you come back, that other thing that you practiced has changed your view of the first thing.
Okay. Yeah.
So
I
it
think
kind
so.
of adjusts your insight a couple of degrees, one way or the other,
Yeah.
where all of a sudden you're seeing the first thing that might have been bugging you a little bit, and you can go, okay, all right, this, and it could be totally unrelated.
Right.
You know, one could be straight ahead jazz, the other could be a polka.
Yeah.
But it gives you, it's one or two more synapses in your brain firing a little differently.
Yeah.
That gives you a view
Right.
where you go, right, that's where, got it.
Right.
And you nail it.
Yeah. And then, deep down, and we're really making an effort to internalize something. Deep down, does the mind really know any difference between any of these different things? Does it know this is a polka and this is you're supposed to be playing jazz now, or
Right.
is it just sound that at some level?
I think
Maybe that's
so.
getting too
I don't know.
philosophical,
well, that goes along with, when people ask, I'll be working with somebody, they're like, oh, the song is normally in C, but I do it in G flat. Is that okay? And my standard line is, yeah, sure. All the notes look alike to me. And
Yeah.
I think in my brain, yeah, it doesn't matter if it's a polka or if I'm playing swing or if I'm, doing death metal or whatever it is.
Yeah.
It's the notes are the notes.
Yep. And then when you're also thinking about, music and performing, like the G flat idea there, I think that one concert we played, it was a Christmas concert, and the singer there, she wanted it in G flat, and so I'm thinking, do I bring a different guitar? Do I tune at some point? I'm like, no, I'm just playing G flat, but it's not the most friendly guitar key ever. But
no, there's a distinct lack of open strings.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
It's a really pretty sounding key.
Yeah.
I do. G flat, C sharp, B. These are really complex sounding keys.
Yeah.
But it'll make you nuts. Yeah. I mean, sometimes but I got it in my head a long time ago, and it took a long time, especially because, I play fretless mostly. They're all the same. This is horizontal math here,
Yeah. Yep.
And how long or short I make the string, that finds the note. The style is what comes out of my head. These are mechanical functions.
Okay.
Playing the actual note. So, yeah, that plateau thing is real and it happens to everybody. I've known musicians in their 80s who are just screaming because they've hit this plateau. It's going to happen. You got to find a way to work around it. I have a friend who's a really, really good songwriter, who's award-winning and all this stuff.
Yeah.
When he starts to lose his mind, he goes canoeing.
Okay. Nice.
Completely unplugs. He takes a little travel guitar with him.
Okay.
But he will go canoeing for like a week.
Nice.
And he usually comes back with like 10 amazing songs, which is really annoying.
Yeah.
But that's how you reset. Sometimes you do have to step away and reset, play something else, do something else.
Right.
Anything.
Right.
Anything.
Yeah, that's what I found with recording. I've been really interested in recording here of late, and I find that I'll just if some things are just really like technical, like I really had to work at, like the video I did with the Mike Stern chromosome. I mean, I'll tell you, I was traveling to do lessons, and I was like doing right hand alternate picking with one hand, like on the trip.
Yeah, that's a heck of a tune.
I'm
get it. Yeah.
I'm like, I gotta get this right hand going. I'm like doing this, so like I put a metronome on in the car as I'm going like okay, my hand is gonna do this for like an hour.
That's
driving. Not exactly that much time.
It's not bad. I mean, I'm still working on thumb 1 2 3. And I'm really, really working on driving that classical guitar technique. Because it works. So I will just sit and do them in different orders. Just put my hand on my leg and
Yeah.
You know, do
Yeah.
backwards and forwards and alternating,
Yeah.
and slowly I'm getting.
Nice. Nice.
But yeah,
But
the technical stuff.
yeah. Anything
Well,
that's really technically difficult, and if I'll do scratch recordings. I'm like,
mhm.
am I ready on this tune or not?
Yeah,
Scratch recording.
yeah. Digital tape is free and
Yeah.
unlimited.
The answer is no or it's yes.
Yeah,
That's, you know.
yeah. It's funny because there is this thinking about, well, I don't want to record myself because it's committing it to
Mhm.
permanence.
Yeah.
No, it's not going in the Smithsonian. You,
Right.
you throw it away. Like I say, digital tape is free and plentiful.
Yeah.
Where it used to be, tape was expensive.
Mhm.
So you were cautious about what you put down.
Yeah.
Now you don't have to be. Just record it. You don't like it, back up, record over it.
Yep. Exactly.
But yeah, the technical stuff. That's kind of a whole different thought process, isn't it?
Yeah. I
Mhm.
mean, I'm committing 1 day per week minimum to doing classical guitar. And it's not a long period of time, but
Right.
it's actually somewhat of a relaxing thing. Like have some coffee in the morning and do a couple hours of classical repertoire and
Yeah, not bad.
yeah, just work on some stuff. I'd like to commit more time to it, but just
Mm.
realistically, it's not happening at this moment. Um, but yeah, so yeah, anything that's kind of technical. Some of the jazz stuff is really pretty. Some of it's pretty easy going. Like a lot of the real book tunes, or a lot of the tunes you might just play at a casual
Mm-hmm.
thing.
Yeah.
They're probably some of them don't require even practice or just familiarity, especially if you're
Yeah.
playing melody.
Mm-hmm.
Or
Yeah.
if you have a singer, then you
Yeah.
want to be familiar with the changes.
Well, like we
and
said
stuff.
before, it's if we're the backing musician, if we're backing up a soloist or something like that, yeah, at least listen through enough so you generally know how the melody operates.
Mhm.
Is working through the song. Keep that going in your head
Right.
because there's going to be hits, there's going to be stops, there's going to be things.
Yeah.
If you do it together, it sounds really good.
Yeah.
If you all do it in a slightly different spot, no, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm sorry we waited till now because I'm pretty excited about this artist that you were um, telling me about earlier.
Oh yeah, Sharon Kovacs.
Okay.
This is like I told you off camera. I'm really mad I didn't hear her sooner.
Okay.
She's had stuff out for I think 8 or 9 years.
Yeah.
Some of it is very dark. So brace yourself.
Okay.
Be in a happy place.
Right.
But I find it extraordinary. Her songwriting and her singing. Yeah, it is not all happy, but it is incredible.
Right.
And that's worth paying attention to.
Yeah, we were listening to what's the name of the tune? I'm a fool or
A fool like you.
I'm full like you. Okay.
Yeah.
That was great.
That was with her with the Metropole Orchestra from about 6 years ago. With Jules
Yeah.
Buckley directing. Wow.
Yeah.
The orchestra's incredible. She's incredible.
Yeah.
Playing not easy music.
No.
So we were kind of laughing that one violinist had the oh boy face going.
Yeah.
That was
Yeah.
full. You want to see what full concentration looks like?
Yeah,
Watch
that-
the violinist on
That
that
was the
video.
face of that. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and that's one thing that, focus practice in your session. It's so easy to just be like, well, I'm just here. Nobody's listening to me. I don't really have to focus. If you get into the mindset of just dedicating focus anytime you're picking up that instrument, that way, if you are in her position at some point, it's like you can deliver that focus. And
Right.
I'm sure she has a huge amount of experience
Oh yeah.
just doing that. But
Exactly. Yeah, and it is that focus of. I know Robert Fripp talks a lot about intent with each note,
Okay. I like that.
and I like that a lot. Where it's what is the note doing? This we are going seriously deep into the weirdness here. What is the note doing? Where is it? How long is it? What is its tonal behavior? Especially because it's like because I like to play fretless. If I can move that
Roll the
note
finger.
around.
Yeah.
You know, am I sliding into it? Am I sliding down to it? Am I just hitting it?
Yeah.
You know, am I hitting it and then adding a wide vibrato? All these little things that stack up
Yeah.
that make, when you hear a really amazing performance, that is generally players who paid attention at that level.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Very detailed.
Yeah. It is, if you think of it as like a Pondalist painting
Okay.
almost, where it's just little dots,
Yeah.
you know, and then when you stand back, it's wow. It's
Mhm.
this incredibly moving painting.
Right.
But when you stand upright and you get your face right up next to it, it's just a bunch of colored dots.
Right. Right.
But each one of those dots had intent.
Yeah. Nice.
So thus endeth the super heavy portion of the lesson. I mean, because that's,
Yeah.
but yeah, I mean, that's eventually where you want to land,
Yeah.
is to be able to focus at that level where every note has its own individual structure.
Mhm. Nice.
And you can basically manipulate that however you want to get your musical intent across.
Right. Right. That's wonderful. So just to make this all complete, why don't we, if you have time, John,
Mhm.
play
Cool.
like the last 8 bars?
Oh, yeah, we have.
Yeah. And so this is what, you know, when we might ask ourselves, okay, what is our what is the thing we're after as far as maybe improvisation? So I'm gonna think a little bit more. So let's see what covered very beginning. We did phrasing
Mhm.
and dynamics and softness and loudness. That was the first 8.
Mhm.
Of course, all of these you could apply to all of them, but
Mhm.
we're just kind of just running through some things. We covered play and the changes, which
Right.
kind of makes sense on those faster harmonic rhythms. And then we covered a rhythm, specific
Mhm.
rhythm. So here I'm gonna think a little bit about maybe stepwise motion and scales,
Okay.
or tonal centers,
Mm-hmm.
rather than necessarily that's going to fit into playing the changes, but it's going to be more of like
Yeah.
music theory. I don't know.
Yeah, it
something
is,
like that.
and it's interesting if you're reading along at home. Last 8 of Tree Stay, it's basically 2 5s. It just goes 2 5 2 5 2 5 2 5. But bars 3 and 4 of last 8, D minor 7 to D flat half diminished, or D flat diminished 7, does not. It does not seem like a 2 5, but it is. If you're going, so we got E flat, A flat, right, and then we got D. Oh, D flat diminished has a G in it. Right, so we got D, 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 D.
Yeah.
So he gives you the 2 5, but it's like he rotated it.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, and I might even think about like you could even do some superimposition, like maybe like you said G, even G minor. If I did a G minor C7, G minor 7 flat 5. So yeah, nice. So D minor 7, G7.
Yeah, because if you play that G7 again, that's the D flat in the bottom. A beautiful chord,
Yeah,
and,
it's
it,
pretty
and,
cool.
it lands down on
Yeah.
the C
Yeah,
so nicely.
yeah, yeah. Great. So yeah, let's play through it just maybe 2 times.
Yeah.
All right, great. Yeah. So then you can have like these different tools in your
Mm-hmm.
toolbox, and then you've practiced and gone through, and you can talk about this thing and then talk about this thing, when you
Yeah.
improvise. And um, there are certain times, also just playing live where just the moment strikes you in a
Mm-hmm.
certain way. Sometimes it's really, it's all intuitive and you're all just kind of doing it, it's
Mm-hmm.
falling into place. But other times when the mind is not as cooperative,
Right.
they say, well, I'll try this device,
Yeah.
and then sometimes that pushes you into a certain thing too.
It does, and kind of opens up your thinking and
Mm-hmm.
lets you just play it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And then people can connect a little bit with certain things,
Yeah.
especially the rhythm one that we talked about. You could create any sort of sequence.
Mhm.
It helps people like, oh, I hear something. I recognize. Now they're playing something back again, or that's
Mhm.
sort of a question, and this is sort of an answer.
Yeah.
So all that.
Yeah,
So,
it's somebody used to say it's like you're giving the audience something to hang their ears on.
yeah. Mhm.
So you could play way outside and then you give them something comfortable,
Mhm.
even for just 2 beats,
Right.
and it lets them go right. Then you can take them right back up again.
Right. Right.
Yeah, and it's you're bringing the audience along with you, and that's kind of the point.
Yeah, I mean, think about any sort of good writing from an episode of some show.
Mhm.
Hopefully not written by AI, but who knows? I guess I'm just throwing that.
Yeah, yes, I support SAG-AFTRA. Yes, we do.
Uh, but but yeah, so there are moments in the story that are uncomfortable,
Mm-hmm.
and that you're supposed to feel that way
Yeah,
because that's good storytelling. Like
yeah.
otherwise, you're not going to feel engaged. So solos can kind of be like
Oh,
that as
very,
well.
very
So,
much. I have this rule, um, just for me, but because I love art, I love sculpture and painting and all this, and I enjoy art.
yeah.
I find them very relaxing. And I found that if I see a piece of art that makes me feel uncomfortable, I need to spend more time with that because I need to know why it's making me uncomfortable. What is the artist doing or saying?
Right.
Hopefully, it was intentional on the artist's part instead of me just being some sort of troglodyte and not understanding him.
Yeah.
But usually, it's like, okay, I need to dig here.
Yeah.
This is because a reaction doesn't have to be a positive reaction.
Mhm. That's right.
As an artist, we can hand people negative reactions. We can hand them indifferent. We can. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's any reaction means you reached somebody.
Right.
And
Right.
that's really where we want to be.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. Music touches people very deeply.
Mhm.
Yeah. Subconsciously.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks so much, John.
Well,
Really
was fun.
appreciate it. Yeah, that was awesome. So, so we'll be back with more, and hope you all have a really great practice session. Let me not forget to um, give John some plugs here. We've got cables.
I do. My company, Instrument Audio, we do custom audio cables for musicians and studios.
So someone can text you, and they can say, "Hey, I want a 1.5 foot TS cable with one right angle,
Mm-hmm. I want
one
straight.
straight, or
Yeah.
XLR."
XLRs, multi-channels. I'll do snakes if you ask me very nicely,
Okay.
because those make you want to scream sometimes.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the idea. Is I like working with cables, and they make a difference.
They do. Yeah.
And yeah, the better your equipment, the better you sound.
Right.
That doesn't mean you have to lose your mind and spend $1 billion on everything.
Right.
But good professional level equipment and will last you forever.
Right. And you'll grow into whatever you're working with.
Right.
Whereas some equipment, you'll just have a ceiling
It's
that's
just-
going to make it.
It's so limiting.
Right.
Yeah, that's why, I bet students have discovered you sit down with a better instrument than the one you own, and all of a sudden you can play better.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just because equipment let you do more.
Right. Yeah. It lets you do.
Same with the electronics.
Yeah. Yeah. Absolutely. And you also design bases and
Well, yeah, working with a builder, designing a new instrument.
yeah,
So that'll be fun. That's
nice.
kind of a long-term ongoing. Hopefully have something by the end of the year.
Yeah,
So yeah, I've done this work, designed electronics and these systems
yeah,
for musical instruments. And, I've been a bass player for a long time. I know what I like and I know what works.
hmm
And I've got another builder that I'm working with. So when we're ready to announce, we'll
okay.
have a big thing about that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be like a collaboration
This
long
is
term.
long-term collaborative thing,
Nice.
and it will
Okay.
be available for order.
That's awesome.
And
Okay. So we'll be plugging that.
yeah, so we'll have it. Make sure we show it off right here.
Awesome. That'll be great. Look
Yeah.
forward to that. All right, everybody. Thanks so much, and we'll see you all in the next one.
See you next time.